I'm so happy to physically be in Vegas with other people. It's been a long period of separation and isolation. And I think that the power of the industry and the power of the people coming together makes us a stronger community and a stronger group of people. So I want to say thank you, and I think that's very important. In general, I think that the way we relate to other people has become highly sensitized. I mean, you see it in HR, you see it in the idea that we should take care of stakeholders rather than just the shareholders of a business. But I think being sensitive to other people has become much more important and expected as we move forward. So definitely thank you to everybody for coming. Thank you to the people putting up the production. There's 20 or 30 people behind the screen around here making all this stuff happen. So, I want to thank them as well, and all the people at the Venetian and all the Rapaport people and the other people that are putting this together. Now, I'll give you a few slides on the Rapaport group so you have an idea of what's going on. By the way, today's sponsor is RapNet. I don't have fancy slides, but it is one hell of an organization putting together a major effort. So I want to just mention RapNet as the sponsor for today. So what's the story with this Rapaport thing? Well, we're a little crazy. Most people go into business for the purpose of making money, which is certainly something that we do. But we put something in front of that, like a filter, and say, hey, it's got to be ethical. And that is a thing we're going to discuss today, this whole question of ethics and legal and where we go with it. But our values, ethical, transparent, competitive. When you bring transparency and competition together, you get fair market value, or parts of it, and efficient markets. That's what we believe in. That's what we do. We don't really own diamonds. We create markets. We do intelligence. We do all kinds of stuff they'll explain. Established in 1978, I think it's more like 150 employees, but about 22,000 clients in 121 countries. And we're in the added value service business, which is a kind of funny place to be because we're not sitting here with inventory, so we have a different view of the world. So what do we do at Rapaport? 4 things. But 4 basic. Information. We really spend a lot of time and effort on research, writing information, finding out what's going on. Most people are busy selling their product or making their product, but we're busy actually analyzing and understanding the market. The price list is out there for many years, 42 years now, amazing. And this RapNet thing is huge. It's a diamond trading network, so we're listing, I think, 1.8 million diamonds every day. It's a lot of diamonds to keep track of. We spend about $5 million a year just on IT. We're listing $8.9 billion of diamonds every day. Sometimes it goes down, up a little bit. It's a very powerful animal because you got all this information about what's being sold, what are the asking prices. So this helps us to understand the market. Rapaport Auctions and Trading Services, there's Michelle in the back. We're the largest recycler of diamonds in the industry. And basically, I always say diamonds are forever, little old ladies are not. So there's going to be a tremendous amount of diamonds that are going to be sold over the next decade. I'd say that we're talking about maybe $30, $40 billion of diamonds, maybe more. They're going to exchange hands from baby boomers to probably millennials. And so there's going to be a lot of interest in recycled diamonds, recycled jewelry, recycled gemstones. And then we're involved in diamond grading and certification. As you'll see, we're going to be talking about source certification. So that's what we do. And, we're doing stuff. But actually, we're like a ping pong ball in the ocean, like all of us. I mean, God, what is going on today? Think about that. You had this COVID thing, shocked everybody, physically shocked everybody. Caused a slowdown in China, obviously, but even everywhere else. Indian production came to a halt for a couple of months. So you got this thing going on with COVID, setting the stage, as you'll see. Then you've got this inflation. Gas prices, wheat prices, food, everything's going up. Inflation's serious. And then you got this higher interest rates, which is driven by inflation. And it's normal for a guy to say, what the hell's going on here? What's happening? Oh, this and that. And then Russian sanctions bombs into the middle of this whole thing. Wow. And so are there going to be shortages because 30% of the goods come from Russia? There will be shortages? Won't there be shortages? What'll happen to melee for all the brands? What's going to happen to power supply? What's going to happen to prices? And so people today, I think, are more confused than ever before about what does all of this mean and how is it going to impact our business. I mean, people agree with that? I mean, there's a lot of confusion out there. So what I've been thinking about here is just saying, okay, and I'm kind of calm today, and the bigger the problem, the calmer I might get. But how can we start to understand what the hell is going on and how it's going to affect our business? And mostly, what should we do? What should we do? You know, and you know, I was just talking to Pat. She's with us, and she was at the AGS conclave, and she said, the AGS conclave, a lot of people were saying, so what do we do now? And they're looking for direction, they're looking for understanding, they're looking to know, how do we react to Russian sanctions, for example? So I'm going to talk about those things today. I'm going to get us right into the game. But the first step I'm going to say is we need to have a structure for understanding what's going on. So what am I going to say to you? I say, look, let's figure there's a lot of stuff happening, but let us understand two fundamental foundations of the diamond and the jewelry business. Just two. Economic situation. Are people wanting to buy more jewelry? They don't want to have the money to buy it. What's happening in the global economy that's changing things, that's creating an environment where we can do well? We all know that when the United States government puts out $10 trillion, that's not billions, we're beyond $10 trillion, people go to jewelry stores and buy jewelry. Okay, we know that if you take a helicopter and you throw $100 bills out of it, people are going to buy it. They're going to spend the money. So what is the economic situation like, and where are we heading? And how can you understand what's going to happen to this industry and to your business based on the economic environment that you're in? So we have this changing environment of the economics, and then there's a very tricky thing about diamonds, and that is the social impact of why and how people buy diamonds. This is not, the diamond has absolutely no utility. There's no utility. You can't eat it. You can't have a diamond for breakfast. What are you going to do? Why and how do people buy diamonds? What's underneath this thing? And so that fabric, that social fabric, is sensitive and important. And we need to understand how all the things that are going on today impact the economy and impact the social, what's in the buyer's brain. If you can understand those two impacts, if you can understand those two things, if you can think in that way, you're going to be fine. Because you position yourself to be in a world where you can get customers that can buy the stuff, and you'll also be having the understanding as to the why they're buying the stuff, okay? So this is the model that you want to be thinking about today as we move on pretty rapidly. Well, shocks. So you got the situation where, okay, we have an economy, we have social relationships, people getting married or they want to buy jewelry or bridal, and then you have these things called shocks, things coming from outside, mostly outside the diamond industry, and those are causing this economic and this social world to change. So I'm not dancing at the same party. You know, I'm a very good ballroom dancer, and I'm out here in a discotheque where they're playing, I don't know, hard rock or something. How do we dance? How do we change? What's impacting the economics of our business, and what's impacting our social environment? And if you look at those shocks, no one expected COVID. No one planned for COVID. No one knew how to deal with COVID. We still don't know how to deal with COVID, really, like, say, in China, and the ongoing impact that it's having. But make no mistake, the psyche, the psychological thinking of consumers has been changed by COVID. So it's having this impact on us, okay? And of course, the Russian sanctions. I mean, wow, you know, the Russian sanctions is definitely causing a lot of change in the industry. You might think, but it's certainly changing the social environment. I'll share the results of a quick survey we did just before the show. Now, First was, everybody with me? I'm sitting with these heavy lights on. People, you want to raise your hand if you understand what I'm talking about, everybody? We're okay, wave? Yeah. Sometimes I get so afraid. I'm sitting up here in some ivory tower, and I don't know what's happening with everybody out there. So let's make sure you're with me. So, economics, social, bida bing, bida bang, bida boom, all kinds of things happening. Everybody okay? Now, it's important to understand, though, and this is maybe the highest level. I'm try to get less complicated, but I wanted you to understand this. Things impact other things interactively. For example, COVID. What impact did it have economically? Who can tell me the biggest impact COVID had on economics? Anybody tell me? Come on. People not going into work, social change. We didn't go to work. That's definitely an HR issue. But what's the biggie? What? Louder.
M1 going up 40%.
What went up 40%? M1, money supply. You're right. 10 trillion, trillion dollars. $10 trillion. Whoosh, whoosh. Like 1.8 was just like literally $100 bills off of helicopters just sending people checks. Now, that changes the social mindset of people. That changed the economic. And it's a bloody disease, COVID. So I'm just pointing out to you that there's an interactive element how one thing changes another. So COVID certainly had an impact on our social transformation, how we think about jobs and working, but it had a huge impact on money. And I'm going to go into that later. I just want you to be aware that, okay, Russian sanctions. What do you think one of the biggest impacts of Russian sanctions is going to be? Anybody? What? Shortages of rough. Well, maybe, but wheat prices are up 105% in the last few weeks. People are going to starve to death. So, we're looking at our world exists around our belly button, but hey, man, you're talking about massive changes in the whole world of what's happening. And so those bigger things that are happening will, of course, affect the diamond side and what's going on. So we'll get in here talking more about diamonds. Thank you, Leah. Look at this. I got water. I'm fine. Okay. So, it's scary because we can't understand what's happening because the things that are happening are causing other things to happen. So I'm going to try to make some sense out of all this for everybody here. Okay, so we understand those big things. We have an economic storm, easy money. Easy money, baby. We talked about $10 trillion. Economic forces are creating the perfect storm. You've got interest rates and inflation. And you have this issue of disposable income. So let me explain that, right? So first of all, you had easy money for a long period of time. Yeah, I'll show you. See, this is interest rates. These interest rates are a joke. I mean, look how low they were. What is it here? After 2008, interest rates went, and the economists and the government people said, oh, this is great, we can solve any problem by just putting easy money. And they left the easy money out there until 2016. That's 8 years. And then they tried to tighten, and then we got hit with the Russian invasion, and interest rates went down again. So we've had this story of easy money. It's sort of like financial Prozac. Everybody feel good? Yeah, you can borrow money real easy. Housing prices went up, stock market went up. I mean, come on, you can get money for 3% and you can make 20% in the stock market. So everything was easy money. And now, easy money has driven inflation. And you see that like constantly. You see the idea of, oh my gosh, I'm going to work for you, but I'm going to go work for someone else in 10 minutes. You see the price of oil, the price of food, the price of gasoline. And so you're seeing this sequence of events. Easy money, COVID stimulus, inflation. And how do we shut down inflation? We increase interest rates. So if inflation takes money out of your customer's pocket, and I think I'd be talking mostly about low to middle income Americans, which was why it was so fantastic when you had the COVID thing going out to all these low to middle income Americans. They got a ton of money. Wow, boom. The average expenditure, $10 trillion, is over $30,000 for every American. So a lot of the middle class and the I shouldn't say the lower income people got a real boost, and they went running to pawn shops and jewelry stores. But think about this. What's going to happen now? When they raise interest rates now, it's not because they're playing around with interest rates, it's because they have to, because we have a very inflationary environment. So what's going to happen? There'll be less disposable income because of oil prices and food, all kind of things are going up. Wages are going up. So they're going to have less money in their pocket. Now, look at housing. And housing is like the #1 source of people's savings or wealth. There's something called the wealth effect. And, the stock market's already taken a hit as interest rates go up because they realize people are going to have less money in their pockets. But think about mortgage rates. What's going to happen? If interest rates go up, housing prices will come down because it's harder to sell the house and they have to qualify, and it's going to cost more to buy a house because you're going to pay higher interest rates on your mortgage. And so the stock market comes down and the housing comes down and people's sense of wealth comes down, the wealth effect. So as long as people felt, okay, this was great, we're having a party, we're going to make tons of money, it's going to be absolutely great, that's fine. But what happens when people have less money in their pocket? Now, not everybody, because the wealthy people who have cash will earn higher amounts of money on savings. So interest rates go up, you earn more money. So the baby boomers will earn more money. So it's a very interesting transition that we would see. So it's not like, okay, all this stuff's happening, I have no idea what's going on. Oh, my. I know that baby boomers will have more money and millennials will have less. But again, we see that trend. So if you're positioning your store, you're positioning what you're going to do. I'm going to talk a lot about what you can do with estate jewelry and buying in stuff, because that's going to be one of the most powerful places in the world. But understand that we have economics, we have social, people feeling, shocks coming in from COVID, shocks coming in from Russia, and now we're going to try to dig in a little deeper to understand. So first, you understand that there's economic storm, inflation is going to be a pain in the neck, disposable income is going to go down. And so big shops, maybe like Signet even, has seen a good boom in business. And I'll show you that graph in a minute. But that's kind of one time because of the stimulus. And stimulus isn't really sustainable. So we have to start worrying about the fact, who are we going to be selling diamond jewelry to when money gets tighter? And there's no question that money is going to get tighter. So the disposable income concern is real. It's coming after a period of great economic expansion. That's why all the jewelers are getting so excited, and I'm so happy to see everybody buying inventory. Now you just have to go and sell it. So there was this fear we can't get enough goods. There was this boost in the economy because $10 trillion given out by the government because of COVID. We had a very powerful and positive environment, which was great. And then we're going to get a little quieter here. Yeah, there's a reason that Walmart and Amazon prices, shares came down, because they've inventoried up, and then there's a problem selling their stuff. Now, I don't know what's going to happen over here with excess inventory in the diamond distribution system. We don't know about Christmas yet, but I'm hopeful. In other words, I'm thinking that people are going to see value in jewelry, and that in spite of the economic problems that we may be looking at, we're still going to do okay. I mean, here's your $10 trillion, okay? Not going to happen again. There's elections. Possibly, they say that the Republicans may come in. I don't think we're going to be seeing this stimulus going again so strongly. I think we're heading in the other direction. So there's going to be less money around be careful with your inventory. You know, be careful. Know what you've got, and make sure you don't speculate. I'm buying something and I want to speculate because prices may go up. I don't advise that kind of a business. Hey, you guys, you know, I told the story a whole bunch of years ago. Maybe I got to lighten up and tell the story. Everything seems so serious here. It's hard for me because I'm in these lights and everything's dark out there, so I can't really see your smiling faces. But you want a story? You guys want a funny story, a little story? All right, let's do a story. I got to wake up here with some stories here. All right, so like there's this, and I told it a couple of years ago, so if you've been, coming to the breakfast and you heard it before, forgive me, but it's a good story. So there's this kid, he wants to go into his father's business. And he goes to his father, I want to be in the diamond business, I want to be in the diamond business. The father says, nah, not for you, not for you, not for you. No, I really want. And the father tells the kid, listen, whatever I tell you, you have to do without asking me any questions. That's it. If you agree to that, I'll let you come into the business. All right. So the kid shows up to work. The father says, go to the safe, take out all of these diamonds from the safe, and lay them out, table down on this chair. Little chair there, instead of chair. Lay them down, all the time. He says, you're nuts. You can do what I tell you? Absolutely. All right. So he goes and he lays out all the diamonds, cue it up, the table down on this chair. And the father comes by, he looks and says, oh, very nice, you did a good job, it's fine. Now take off your pants. What? Take off your pants. The terrible things these millennials have to put up with. But okay, he takes off his pants. Take off your underpants. Now the guy's kind of, okay, this is ridiculous. These old farts. All right, he takes off his underpants. And then his father says, now sit on the chair. The guy sits on the chair. Oh man, all those cubits. Could you imagine he sits on that chair with all those diamonds, cubits? And then the father says, okay, what did you learn? What'd you learn? Don't sit on the goods. Don't sit on the goods. Interesting economy. It's good, it's bad. Rapaport, disposable income, interest rates, inflation rates, blah, blah, blah. What should I do? Don't sit on the goods. Sell. Move it. Okay? Very important lesson that I could try to give you guys. Don't keep waiting, speculating with diamonds. All righty. Now, look at what happened. All that money, $10 trillion. It's so much money. It's crazy. Right? So all the stocks went up. Cigna went up, 780% or something. You can read that over here. The general stock market went up 100 and something percent. Look at all that money people were making. Did anyone really make money? And we've been living in a crazy, crazy world where people make businesses not to make money in the business, but to get a higher valuation for the business. And then they're going to make money because they sold 2% of the business at, $1 billion, and now they're a so-called, what do they call them, a unicorn. But it's all bullshit because the business has not made $1 yet. And so we become into this growth concept of where we're going because we've had this economic exuberance because of $10 trillion. If I went out and I gave everybody in this room $1 million, we'd still have leftover change from 1 trillion. Okay, a lot. I mean, $1 million, actually, it'd be nothing. We wouldn't even get to $1 billion. How much would a cup of coffee cost? If every one of you had $1 million in your pocket and you were thirsty. My point is that the amount of money that came into our industry was so great that it created an artificial situation, and all of us felt that we deserve this and we're there. But the money is now going to be going in the other direction, which is why you can see the stock market come down over here, okay? As we've now hit this point of, hey, there's inflation, everybody. Hey, the party is sort of over, or maybe we'll have a different party. So be careful, everyone. The economic indications are for lower disposable income. Now you can see very interestingly how diamond prices caught up to even a booming S&P. Very interesting that diamond prices tracked the S&P. It's very hopeful. It's very exciting because it means that people, when they put their money in the stock market, also said, I want to put something in some jewelry. And that's really important. You want to understand that there is desire for jewelry. We can talk about the Russian invasion as one of those shocks and say, how did the Russian invasion affect the economy? Pretty serious. We're spending a lot of money in the Ukraine. But the real money impact is, of course, sanctions. What does that do? The price of wheat, inflation. Let me tell you, the Russian invasion is going to kick inflation in the ass so that it flies. Its feet doesn't touch ground. And all those people say, inflation's nothing, don't worry about it, just pay double for gas, but don't worry about it. All those people that are saying don't worry about it makes me want to worry about it even more. So it looks to me like we are going to hit an inflationary cycle, reduce disposable income. Russia doing that is making a big move on that, okay? Wheat, food, it's not just wheat, food, calories that people need. So you have global shortages, you have food. We keep thinking about diamonds. Hey, will there be enough diamonds? Hey, will there be enough bread? I mean, there's more to life than toilet paper. So, you got to think about what's going to happen here. So I'm not looking at for a terrible situation. I am warning us, though, that what we're seeing today with Russia is the beginning of what I would call global economic warfare. We're fighting Russia with money. Money is being weaponized. So it's a kind of a different kind of a war, but it will have huge ramifications, especially if China moves in on the side of Russia. I think that China was probably planning to go into Taiwan maybe, assuming Russia had their 6-day, winnings, but that's not how things worked out. We ourselves at Rapaport have 20 people working for us in the Ukraine in IT. We're sensitive to what's going on there, and there are human rights abuses and stuff, but the fact is that Russia's invasion has broken the global social order, and that's heavy. Because we were all, everything's okay, we'll order from Walmart will order from China, it'll get here in a week, okay, COVID will make it a month, but, we had this cozy globalization vibe where we could trust everything. Okay, so COVID messed that up, but we thought that was bad, but it'll get better. It might, I'm hoping it will, but it's scary because, look, when you fight with Russia and you say, I'm not giving you any money. Okay, so let's assume, thanks God, it doesn't go to anything nuclear, right? So now we're fighting about you can't buy from him, you can't sell from him. Other companies can, even in the third world. Now what's China going to do? We're giving China $600 or so billion a year of trade surplus, and it's becoming a national security interest. Our relationship with China is no longer just economic. And people had thought that, well, if you give them jobs and you give them opportunities to sell America and sell Walmart and all that stuff, Amazon, whatever have you, they'll be happy, they'll be making money. They're not going to want to blow up the world, they're not going to want to build up their military. They will become democratic like Japan did. And I think that we've learned that you can't buy culture. The Chinese people are communists, the government, the Communist Party, and that's what they are. So they're not going to become Democrats because of capitalism. On the contrary, they'll use capitalism effectively in their own social society. So there might be a little bit of a trade war. It's already a trade war, intensifying with China. I mean, the extreme case would be China goes into Taiwan. Hope it'll never happen. That would be an extreme case. And then you might see the United States of America say, hold it, big tariffs on Chinese goods, then you'd see more inflation. Prices would go up. All I'm saying to you right now, the world is in a very unsettled place. And unsettled may be actually good for jewelry because it represents some consistency, but you have to worry about the global economy is in a situation where I would be careful. I would worry about inflation, and I'd worry about disposable income. And I'd try to orientate my business towards state jewelry. I try to orientate my business towards people who are earning money, through higher interest rates and stuff like that. Okay, so you can see over here, there's a whole story here, inflation and interest rates. And this is like the important one here, this slide here. I have 2 more slides on the economics, and then we'll get into other stuff. But 85.31, I guess how many minutes are left or something? 8:34, okay. Look at this graph. Now, what the graph is telling you, the blue line is inflation and the red line is interest rates. Sorry, the reverse. The blue line is interest rates and the red line is inflation. So what you see is inflation schlepping up, pulling up interest rates. And I don't see that going away. So I would predict much higher interest rates. And then what happens to housing prices, what happens to stock market prices and stuff like that. So I think it's reasonable, if inflation doesn't come down, to see interest rates going up. If interest rates are going up, you have to start thinking about disposable income of your clients, and you have to think about what are you selling and how can you survive in an environment where prices are maybe more problematic. Like prices go up for all this other stuff. One end may make it easier for people to understand that prices go up for jewelry, but you've got to be thinking about people having some less money. Now, disposable income. Now that's really the bottom line of jewelry purchases, in my view, because you have money, you can spend it on jewelry. If you don't have money, you have to spend it on gas, or you may have to spend it on food. Now, as prices increase, less money is available for luxury purchases for that segment of the population that is earning money, not for people who are big savers and stuff. Higher interest rates, higher mortgage payments, decreased disposable income, and the U.S. diamond will be under pressure as money gets tighter. So this graph that you see now is kind of important, okay? There we go. It's kind of dark, I don't know if you can see me. What we're looking at right now is disposable income being that red line. How much money do you have to spend on whatever you want? Disneyland, jewelry, travel, whatever it is. And the blue line is retail sales. So what we've been seeing is $10 trillion, big retail sales, more retail sales. We're in the mood. We're doing great. All the jewelers, they're feeling good, not all, but a lot of them. So we're in that area, and I don't want to rain on anybody's parade, but as you see that disposable income coming down, you got that, woo, here's a lot of money, woo, we're buying jewelry, woo, no more money, woo, what happens to jewelry? You got to realize that that trend is coming. I don't want to be negative, I just want to be careful. And, here, see, what do I mean by careful? See, I'm wearing suspenders, yeah, I'm also wearing a belt. Okay? So that's my message, be careful, okay? Wear a belt, wear suspenders. So this is like a key animal about what's going to happen around us. And so you may want to consider that without freaking out. You just want to understand there's going to be changes in who has how much money. And I think that we have to be looking for people who have money to sell jewelry, but we should be buying in jewelry. Telling you guys, the most profitable segment of the diamond and jewelry business is buying in stuff from baby boomers and hopefully paying them a fair price. And that's where we work with Rapaport Auctions. That's where we're going. We see that as being the most profitable sector in the United States jewelry industry. Without question, is going to be recycled jewelry and estate jewelry, and it requires expertise. Don't go there, run there if you can get that expertise and you can dig in. Look, get a little vibe going on. I'm going to start getting a little more noisy and passionate in a few minutes, but the global diamond industry compared to 21, rough production's down, and I'm really playing around over here in this column. Make it bolder or something. I can't. In any case, if we compare 21 to 19, we can see that there's growth. China is still down, but 50% Indian rough imports and 50 bringing in the rough, 15 exporting the polished. India didn't grow that much, and that would show you some what I would call irrational exuberance. But we're not that bad. compared to 2019, especially the Indian polished exports, 15%. And they're cutting like 93% of the world's goods. So it's good to watch India and say, okay, what are you guys selling? Okay. You can see now here also that the polished imports, we look at half carats and larger into the United States, and they've gone up. So it looks like we're in a pretty good position right now. I think that we should be careful, but hey, don't rain on people's parades. If we're selling and we can have a good Christmas and we have a positive attitude, let's go for it, because that money, $10 trillion, is going to be around for a while. This can show you the rough, and you can see that China, Rosa here is the gray, they're at 31%. So, there was less rough coming out in 2021, maybe 2022 will also be tight. So we will have a tighter supply. Theoretically, if we don't trade the Russian goods, we'll be okay. I mean, because if demand goes down, because disposable income goes down, because interest rates go up, because inflation kicks in, because we had all that COVID, $10 trillion, then it's maybe a blessing if there's less goods coming into the market, if the market's going to slow down for economic reasons. In any case, what you're looking at, without Russia, you'd look at 25% drop in carats, 24% in dollars. And you have extreme shortages in the small melee. And that's going to be, for the brands, a lot of the brands, I'm looking around, there's a lot of small goods in there. So wouldn't surprise me if they go to synthetics, and I will be around to ask some questions of synthetics. If you really think about how this can work itself out, this Russian story, well, I don't think Chinese companies care whether or not the polished diamonds are coming from Russian rough. I mean, there's a big hoo-ha in the United States, and we'll show you some of those responses, but Chinese, I don't believe, are going to decline to buy diamonds because they come from Russia, okay? Now, what that means is the Russian goods get cut in India like normal, I would imagine, and then get sold to the Chinese, which means the Chinese aren't buying so much of the De Beers rough, which can be documented as coming from legitimate sources and all that. And so there's more legitimate goods available. Legitimate's a strange phrase. There's more non-sanctioned goods available. And then the Chinese eat it up, and our business continues as normal. We don't feel the shortages because the Russians are out of the market for the De Beers goods. That is a scenario that could happen, which means that after all the noise and all the stuff coming in and making us crazy, we're not going to experience a significant shortage in rough diamonds unless we are ethical. If we're ethical and we say, oh no, well, we got to know where our diamonds are coming from, we will start to feel some shortages in the ability to create ethical products, but not in the broad picture because Russia's out of the game, because again, I think that the Chinese solution may come in. Now, if there's no demand coming from China, then we'll have to see how this fight between ethical diamonds and non-ethical diamonds works out in the United States. But I'm not worried about shortages right now, to tell you the honest truth. I don't think that they're playing out. I'll explain more later, but I'm not worried. Now, the real game is the prices. What will happen with diamond prices? I don't think it's a Russian story. I think it's a demand story. I think it's a question as to whether or not China gets back on the horse following COVID. And that's a real stressful point out there. And it's a real question as to what happens with the United States demand. Demand will set prices pretty much in terms of normal goods, but there will be higher prices for socially responsible diamonds that you can show where they came from. Everybody with me on this? Okay, so don't freak out about Russia yet. Don't freak out about shortages. Focus on where you can add value to diamonds and get a higher price, which I am saying to you will be diamonds that are known to be socially responsible. Okay, I'm going to move along with this. How's everybody doing here? Is it getting boring? Am I too slow? What's happening? You guys all right? Are we doing okay here? I just kind of sit down on a chair. All these lights, I can't see people. I'm going to still walk around with everybody soon. Okay. So, look at this. Wheat and oil prices. What do they have to do with diamonds? Well, if people got no money because they're putting the money into their car, they ain't going to put the money in your jewelry store. So what does this mean? I was trying to tell you before that the meanings of what's happening go beyond our diamond industry. So take a look. Okay, this is The Economist magazine. I think it's 3 weeks ago. The coming food catastrophe. No food. 80% or 60% of wheat in the world comes out of the Ukraine and Russia. So what? So there's no food. But can you look closely at those shafts of wheat? You see what I'm seeing? Holy crap. Holy crap. I mean, this is The Economist. This is not, crazy leftist magazine, although they do have an opinion about things. What are they saying with this cover? What are they saying? What responsibilities do we have? What the hell's going to happen here? Which has nothing to do, well, it has to do with the diamond industry, but it's not because Alrosa's on the sanctions list, baby. I'm saying to you that there's going to be a tremendous movement of social responsibility as the world gets a little crazier. When you think about wars, far away, but even Afghanistan, we felt it. But when you think about human suffering, when you think about global warming, okay, take global warming. Okay. I'm an old guy. I'm 70 years old. I'm a baby boomer, born in 52. I see global warming and I go, okay, turn the air conditioning on. Now, I got kids that are in their early 20s. And they're looking at this and going, you're killing us with this global warming. They're starting to really see this. It's more mindful for them. And so there's this difference in society about what are we experiencing and how's it going to impact our lives and what should we do about it. And millennials are right, because there's things that we have to take care of. And so this whole awareness of what's happening around us starts to permeate our lives, and our ability in the modern world today to build our own silos and say, what happens here, I don't care about what's happening anywhere else. It's just not where we are socially. It's not the world of social media. It's not the world of connectiveness. It's not the world of relationships. It's just not realistic to assume that you can just dig a little hole and say, this is me and I don't care about anybody else. Especially if you're in the jewelry business and you're flowing with those trends and things that are going. So I want us to realize we are in a period of social transformation. The world around us is changing. Values are changing. And we cannot simply do that. I mean, the old stories. I remember I would fly in an airplane in the last row of business. Those days I couldn't afford business. Still can't probably. And, the last row of business was smoking. And I was in the first row of economy. And that was normal. People smoked on airplanes. Okay, not cigars. Look at it today. If you light up a cigarette, you don't have to be in an airplane where you're sharing it anywhere, unless it's a joint. I mean, they're probably going to come after you, okay? So, the values of society change. And we are now in an environment where all of those shocks are changing the social environment around us, and we need to be so aware of that. We need to be so understanding what is going on around us. And that means more women, young women, particularly in your stores. That means more young women in your wholesale departments. I mean, you need to go with you and understand what's happening, man. Somebody's trying to clap. Probably a young woman. Okay. So this is happening. Demographics. Even if we didn't have Russia, even if we didn't have COVID, the millennials are getting older. They are, every day. And they're going to have to decide if they want to have relationships. I call some of these younger millennials, I call them Tinderites. And they want to some of the millennials may want to have children. And tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. So maybe they're going to have to develop a relationship. Maybe the time has come to settle down. And that settling down will have implications for the jewelry industry. We really have to understand the power of jewelry. It is so powerful. It is so strong. It is so structurally basic to relationships. And so we're moving, I would say, to the millennials. If I'm a baby boomer, I'm like a me guy. I just do things that I get for myself. But the millennials have created an environment of a we. They moved from me to we. And maybe that's because of social media. I don't think they're these, oh, we're wonderful, we love everybody, and we're all we moving on. They make very specific we groups that are built to hate other we groups. So we're seeing a segmentation of society into groups. And I'm not just talking Republicans and Democrats, although I could be, or gun owners and not gun owners, or whatever have you. But what we are seeing is a strong focus of people coming together to create groups. But there are common concerns. Global warming, social responsibility. And I think that what we've really seen is the final transition into we're responsible for what we buy. For the longest period, people didn't care. It was not my job. I don't know if you can figure out where that gas in your tank is coming from, and you're not that interested in it. But when it comes to jewelry, when it comes to products that don't have utility, when it comes to emotional products, make no mistake about it, the sense in society of you are responsible for what you buy is powerful, and it is getting more powerful. Okay, we're in Vegas and it's hot, but fur coat, anyone? Are diamonds the newest fur? Why shouldn't they be? We have to protect our product in a fundamental social way in light of the tremendous amount of social transformation we're seeing in the world around us. Now, what happened was that this Russian story, yes, again, relationships, strong emotional reasons why people buy diamonds. And now emotions are very powerful. They're more powerful than rationals and economics and all kinds of things. There is a very strong emotional need to buy jewelry, to share, to celebrate. And we need to remember that, and we need to believe in that, and we need to sell that or understand that, because we don't sell diamonds. We sell, you'll see Stephen in a minute say this, the idea behind diamonds, but we sell the emotional impact of that gift. That's what it's all about. It's that feeling. Okay. So relationships are growing. There are going to be more and more millennials getting married. In general, trends shift. So I think that the isolation of COVID and all that stuff will change it. And of course, there's that tick-tock clock going. People need people. And now more than ever, people need people in uncertain times and strange things and inflation and everything. You're worried and you really want to have somebody. But do people need diamonds? And we take everything for granted. It's terrible. We just, it's okay, everything's going to be the way it was, we'll just keep manufacturing. We're not in love with the people as much as we should be. Although I shouldn't say that. Jewelers in the audience are fantastic about understanding their customers and why they buy. But you get diamond manufacturers in Israel or India. I don't know that they understand that emotional drive and emotional essence of diamond demand. Anyways, to help us understand this, okay, Will You Love Me Forever, I'm going to play a video here. And that's a little redundant because this is stuff that was going on in 2015.
Martin and I have long talked about the importance of integrity within the industry and the risk that a lack of integrity across our industry the havoc it could impact upon us. We've often talked about responsible sourcing, and we come at it from different ways, but we've got a fundamental agreement that if that issue isn't addressed, we're going to have a problem. And the other area we've talked about, actually for a long time, I can remember, having detailed discussions with Martin 10, 15 years ago, is this whole area of the diamond dream. and consumer desire for diamonds. And at De Beers, we have a simple statement. We say that all value in the diamond business, all value emanates from the consumer's desire for our product. Without that consumer desire, there would be no investment in exploration, there would be no investment in new mines, no one would build any stores, none of us would have anything to do because there would be no one willing to pay for it. And that, the core reason that the diamond market is as big as it is that we sell not products, we're actually selling the consumer an idea, we're selling them a symbol, we're selling them the dream. And if we don't sell the dream, over time, our market will disappear. So, what is in this dream? What are the elements of it? I'm going to run through each one, but there are 4 key ones. Universal symbol of love, an elegant symbol of success, elegant being the key word, timelessness, the ability of a product to endure over time, to mean the same thing over time, even across generations. And lastly, the concept of a store of value, enduring value, something with a material worth.
So here's Stephen talking about why people buy diamonds. And, you know, we're very much involved in the product. Product, how is the product? My product's better, your product's better, this, that. But what about the feeling, the emotion, the thing that we're really selling? So we have a job out here, which is to understand this, especially as the market around us shifts generationally, socially, economically. All this stuff's changing. What can you hang on to? What can you hang on to? These are the diamond values that you need to hang on to. Symbol of love and commitment. If you lose that, so you buy goods cheaper or better from here. That's not where it's at. Elegant symbol of success, talking about designers, talking about people who want to communicate. I am someone, I've reached a point. Okay, women's right-hand ring didn't work so well, but now it does. But timelessness. There's such a powerful thing of, I'm buying into something that is just going to be there all the time. And that's going to be consistent. And so when you buy someone a cubic zirconia ring, it's nice. It doesn't have that timelessness of restore value either. So these are the things that Stephen spoke about in 2015, which was 7 years ago. And none of it has changed. I don't care if there's a Russian invasion or not. These values, these things are not going to change. And they will be fundamental to your success in a weird economic or a weird social environment. Remember these things. This is the basis. Now, what does this take us to? Well, we got a problem in the diamond industry. And now I'm going to get a little bit grumpy and crazy, and I want to apologize to anybody I am insulting in advance. But are we a legal industry? Or are we an ethical industry? Legal is simply, okay, I do what the law tells me to do. I don't have to go beyond that. And do we need to be ethical if we want to maintain these 4 things of the diamond dream? Do we have to be above it? De Beers used to say we have to be up to diamonds, which was a very nice. I say we have to be up to Rapaport. But do we have to do more than the law requires? And and here's the nice thing that came up. God said, okay, now I'm going to shtup you. I'm going to stick this issue up down your throat, and I'm going to see, are you an ethical industry or are you just a legal industry? So we have a situation where diamonds come out of Russia. Now, I got to tell you, Alrosa was probably one of the best companies promoting and supporting human rights and stuff. Now, they got some weird things. They thought they could save Zimbabwe, and they made all kinds of stupid things. But essentially, they supported the diamonds do good. They wanted to make the world a better place in their own way. Alrosa did. But then they had this terrible, government that's deciding to kill people. And right next door over there. I mean, it was just terrible, okay? Ukraine, they did bad things. And so we have this ethical question. You know, now the president decides we're going to do Al Rosa, and he comes up with some kind of a weird way. He calls it Russian origin. I don't know why the diamond industry has this terrible habit of greenwashing and misleading and just basically lying. You know, I'm going to show you the results of our survey to the trade. Is a conflict-free diamond free of human rights abuses? Well, no. And you conflict, and we use conflict-free, and now we use this phrase, origin. So if you take a diamond out of Russia, you pay Al Rosa for the diamond, assuming you figure out how to move money not in dollars and not through the normal financial system. You move money. Al Rosa gets the money, gives it to the government. Government does whatever they're going to do with the money regarding human rights in the Ukraine. But then those diamonds come into, say, India, Israel. I'm not against Indians particularly, although they do 93% of manufacturing. Say it comes into India or it comes into Belgium or somewhere. The rough diamonds that you've now paid for. And then they cut them outside of Russia. So if you cut the diamond outside of Russia, customs and international customs says, oh, it's not a Russian origin diamond. So it's legitimate. So now we can buy diamonds legally. I'm writing a letter to OFAC to clarify this, but there seems to be an understanding in the universe that you can buy diamonds from Russian rough in the United States of America legally. So sanctions, origin, use the terminology. So basically what we're seeing today in terms of the legal environment for Russian sanctions is that the sanctions are just Washington bullshit. They don't stop anybody from buying Russian diamonds legally. Now the question is, do we have an ethical responsibility not to buy those diamonds? On the table in front of you is this magazine thing we put out, you know, and then you've got this special report. We actually sent people into the field in Merengue, got pictures of people with holes in them. Do we buy this stuff? Now, this isn't even legal, the blood diamond stuff, which diamonds are actually involved in torture. I'll talk about that soon, but do we have an obligation to do more than the law requires when it comes to sourcing our diamonds, gold, gems, jewelry? And that's the key question, and it's amazing that God now said, here, boom, I'm going to give you that question. I'll show you, we did a survey of RabNet members, controlled survey, so we have some good information, but a large percent said no. But are we going to be ethical or just legal in this industry? And do we have to be ethical if we are going to capture the hearts and minds of consumers? And this is the big question. This is it. This is the biggie. And if you solve this question for yourself, you will get pain for being ethical, and you will trade off short-term for long-term. Because if all you're doing is selling price, I don't think you're sustainable, okay? But if you're adding value to diamonds, and it could be design, it could be, you know, he said, oh, look at this thing over here, elegant symbol of success, that has design written all over it. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing any of these things, you're fine. But if you're just selling price, and that's a problem, and if you go to legal and say, I can't compete with legal because I'm more expensive, that's definitely a problem that everybody here is going to have, because the movement towards ethical. So a lot of companies are just going to go legal. They're going to say, what the hell? I'm not here to be altruistic. But will that altruism help you to maintain a reputation, to store, and to do business? And you can't force people to be ethical. So why are people ethical? Anybody have an idea here? Why are people ethical if you can't force them and they don't have to be ethical? Anybody knows? What? You can't hear? Oh, you say people have conscience. Okay. And it's nice for independent Jewish, but my understanding of companies and corporations runs to the line that companies have no soul. They have no conscience. They just do what they're going to. There's an argument today that says companies should have stolen arguments. And maybe that's the challenge the diamond industry is now facing, since we have such a romantic product that has no utility, not like an iPhone. Yeah. So this emotional gifting thingamajig has to have an ethical basis. So fine, and I imagine that it would have an ethical basis. But let's look at this. Now, a lot of companies may go legal, but the moral case for ethical diamonds, which I think you were talking about in terms of conscience, we should never contribute to or make money off of other people's suffering. I think that's a nice thing that we would agree to. People here think that. Raise your hand if you think that's a good basis. No one's raising their hands. Maybe some people are raising their hands. And maybe that's what we need to do. And so if a woman is in merengue and she's arrested or she's hassled, tortured, her husband's tortured, you know, our diamond dream can't become another person's diamond nightmare. And we need to understand that, and we need to stand by it. If I wanted to get more deep, I'll show you something weird. I'll jump to the end of my thing over here. I threw a couple of things. Oh, I had a lot of slides yet. Let me see. I was going to give you a quote here. I know I'm jumping. I guess I'm going to have to give you. Actually, I'll find it for you. It's real at the end over here. Hang on a second. We'll play it. Here's Milton Friedman. And Milton Friedman is a great economist. And he's really Nobel Prize. He spoke in 1962 about the role of business, and he said, there is one and only one social responsibility of business: to use its resources, engage in activities designed to increase profits. So long as it stays within the rules of the game, which is to say engages in open and free competition without deception or fraud, that's what it does. Companies are out there to make money. We understand that. But are they supposed to be working for the stakeholders, employees, customers, suppliers, or are they supposed to be working for the shareholders? Now, where Milton Friedman would meet my thoughts in terms of what we have to do about being an ethical industry is, he says make profits. Well, how much profits can you make by being ethical? Anybody consider that? Is being ethical a way to add value to the jewelry you sell? We know you could take a diamond and you can polish it and, you know, make it really nice, and it's going to be worth more money because you've manufactured it, you made it a XXX, you've done something great with it, you know, yeah. Well, can you add value to a diamond or a piece of jewelry by saying, I've monitored where it came from, and this diamond actually made the world a better place, or this diamond did not cause any damage, or this diamond was a good diamond? Is that worth something to a buyer? Can you sell it to a buyer? And this is where Friedman would be agreeing that if you can be socially responsible and you can make a greater price on something, then that is a part of adding value. And the way that I would look at this thing, as I would say to you, the moral case for ethical diamonds is interesting, but unless it's sustainable, it's not going to happen. So I have this nice thing I say, there's a reason God gave diamonds to the poorest people in the world, and he made the richest people want them. Bridging that gap is tikkun olam, is fixing the world, and I really believe that. So there's a great moral reason to think about having ethical diamonds. But, you know, I don't know if people are so moral. It's nice, I can come up here, I can talk about it, but in the end you have to have a business case for ethical diamonds. And it's very clear to me, and I'm not yelling and jumping and screaming like I usually do, at least not yet. You know, we're at 9:08. But the purpose of business is to add value. That's it. You don't add value, who needs you? And you don't add value by necessarily charging the cheapest price, although Sam Walton did pretty well with it. But where are you adding value? And ethical diamonds are an added value proposition. You may hire a designer for your store, you may have nice showcases, you may have nice lighting in your store, but I am telling you, you can add value to diamonds by having them being ethical, by knowing where your source is. And that fits in with those diamond dream ideas that Stephen Lucier had talked about. So, are consumers willing to pay more for ethical diamonds? A lot of companies are betting on this. De Beers did their research, they say 10 to 15% more, which may be pretty high, especially at retail. But if you segment what you're doing as something different, I think people are starting to understand there's a difference between natural diamonds and synthetic LGD or man-made diamonds. They understand there's a difference. Well, maybe there's a difference between ethical diamonds with known sources and non-ethical diamonds that are just regular diamonds. Understand that there might be 3 types of diamonds. Evil diamonds, where they're really coming from, say, merengue. There might be diamonds we just have from unknown sources, which it's no one's fault that, we don't know where it came from. And then you may have diamonds from known sources that you can prove and say, yeah, this diamond has a source certificate or something. So, the business cause is you can make more money, you can add value, and you now have the technology evolving rapidly to enable people to have a diamond that they can be reasonably assured is coming and helping make the world a better place. So that's really important to say that's the future of the diamond industry. If you asked me and said, where's the future of the diamond industry? And I'd say it isn't about money-grubbing, rough manufacturers and retailers. No, it isn't. It's about people who can sell a better product and maybe even a branded product, because that's where we're going without any question in my mind. And whether or not there's economic problems short-term or not, doesn't matter. Position yourself so that you can actually sell the added value of a product that has an ethical basis. They require full disclosure. I don't know, is it perfectly good? You say to a guy, where does this diamond come? He says, I don't know. Okay, sell it that way. Say we don't know. And then you've got to understand there's various levels of ethical sourcing. Nothing's going to happen like that. It's not easy. It's not. So, for example, take the GIA DOR, Diamond Origin Report. It will tell you that this diamond came from this mine or this company with this group of mines. In case of De Beers, they mix the diamonds together, but if all the diamond mines of De Beers are in fact okay, kosher, what do I care which one of them it came from? Relative to a diamond that I have no idea where it came from. So having the source certificate or knowing where the source of a diamond adds value to the diamond. But that's the key, but you need to understand it isn't perfect, because even if I have a GIA DOR, it could have been cut in a factory with no ventilation where the employees can get, God forbid, lung cancer. So you don't have perfect information, but that's no excuse for saying, I'm not going to tell you anything about where this diamond, I'm not going to take any ethical position, I have no ethics. And that's the jump that people have to make to understand that they have to be honest and they have to be transparent when it comes to diamond sourcing. And then they slowly and they add more value to the diamonds by being able to speak to where they come from and what they do, and being honest about, I don't know where it was cut, but I know it came from a legitimate mine or something. Now, the idea that you're going to do certificates for source certification, which is someplace that we're going at Rapaport, very powerful, very important. I'm saying, oh, it's a pain. Another certificate? Yeah, another certificate. But that would flow with the diamond. So you might be able to have a Rapaport or some other organization. Sarin, I know, is doing things, other people. This is certificate number 1, 2, 3, 4 from the GIA or some other lab that uniquely identifies the diamond. So we know what we're certifying and say, this diamond is okay, kosher, comes from a good mine. And so that idea is going to be very prevalent. This is where we're going. I would expect this to happen. I'd expect jewelers to deal with this. And the nice thing is that once you have a certificate that the diamond is good, it can be freely traded back and forth. Does it solve the problem for Melly? No, not yet. But at least we have low-hanging fruit, which are certified diamonds. It could be IGI, it could be GIA, it could be another lab. The most important thing is that we know what the product is, and then that we can take it back and say, okay, since we know we're talking about a specific known product, we can tell you about the provenance, where that product came from and give it social responsibility. About how do we do this? You know, it's nice that I'm talking. Maybe we'll do a social certificate or something. But what about the trade organizations? Now, a lot of the trade organizations do a lot of good. But a lot of the trade organizations' work is there to protect the integrity of the diamond industry, not to stop people getting killed in Africa or tortured. That's their focus. And so greenwashing is very prevalent. Like all these organizations, non-conflict, what the hell, a non-conflict diamond is total bullshit. It means that for example, are the Russian diamonds non-conflict diamonds? No. Are the merengue diamonds where they torture people? No. So what does it mean? You can have a non-conflict diamond, as I'll explain to you, which is full of human rights abuses. So my point is that you can't trust trade organizations to ensure that our industry is not involved in human rights abuses. I'm not against trade organizations. But there's a game we can play at home sometimes. Someone makes a statement, and then you say, bullshit. And if that statement is not true, you call them out on it. The guy has to drink, I don't know, a liberal amount of vodka. And if it's true, then you have to drink the vodka or something, whoever challenges. It's a game called bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on the RJC, Jewelers of America. I'm calling bullshit on all the trade organizations, okay? Because they're not stopping this problem of human rights, but they're not evil organizations. They're trying to do good things. I'm here, I'm giving you diamonds do good. I'm giving you good things. I'm trying to make standards, or I think we can call them standards. I'm trying to make guidelines, but it's not stopping the sale of blood diamonds. I wrote this report because there's blood diamonds out there. We're today, as a routine course of business, as an industry, buying diamonds involved in physical torture. So, I don't know. And our organizations come on and say, oh, I'm taking care of it. And even though they're not taking care of it, you'll see they're actually making those diamonds legitimate. So my point was that you can't trust trade organizations. I'm not against trade organizations. Let them do whatever they can. But if a trade organization told me I can fly a 777, I wouldn't believe them. You just can't do it. So this is from 2010. I asked Peter Singer, who is a world-renowned ethicist at Princeton University. I said, Peter, I did an interview with him. You can find it. It's called Diamond Ethics 101 on our website. And I said, should trade organizations be responsible for eliminating human rights abuses? And these are actual quotes of this that was printed in 2010. Didn't make it up. Now, so Peter says, no. I think you have to start with individuals. You can't rely on trade associations to set standards because they represent the business interests of the trade. And that's just a fact. The RJC needs to keep its members. You know, now they went the other way and they didn't recognize Russia, so now these other guys came back into the game. But it's just horrible. They can't stop those human rights abuses, so they should get off of their whatever it is they're on and say, we don't do that. They say we don't stop that, but I'll talk to you in a minute about what they do. It very often takes individuals to stir things up and get things moving, so I think there's a responsibility on individuals if they have those avenues to try to change the situation, which means if people are buying blood diamonds, it's up to me, you, everybody, to come up with a solution. So I did a survey, and I went out there in the survey and I said, hey, we had I don't know, 1,253 people answered the survey. Are non-conflict or conflict-free diamonds free of human rights abuses? And I say to you, this is a non-conflict diamond. You can go to sleep and say, oh, that's okay. It must be a kosher diamond. So a lot of people said no, 59.3%. This was sent to members of the trade who were RADMET members. But 40% said yes. If you tell me a diamond is a non-conflict diamond, I can sleep at night. You can't sleep at night. No, if you're selling those non-conflict diamonds and you think that you're okay, you're not okay. Should the diamond trade buyer sell sanctioned rough diamonds mined in Russia but cut outside of Russia? And that's where God is sticking it to us. He's saying, okay, you guys, you going to be ethical or you just going to be legal? What's it going to be? Interestingly, 62%, we're going to break it down later this Sunday and Friday, said, I don't want to sell them. I don't want to sell those diamonds, even though they're legal. We have an ethical industry, everybody. Woo! And 37.7 said we should sell them anyways. So whether we should be going to a higher level than legal seems to have some consensus. And then does the Kimberley process certify diamonds are subject to U.S. sanction? 24.4 says no, 26. Amazingly, 49% of the people don't even know what the Kimberley process does. Now, I'm going to take a pretty strong position here, so bear with me as we move along. So trade organizations and good people in this industry believe they're protecting the industry. That's their job. I have to protect consumer confidence. But we're protecting the industry. But are diggers part of the industry? We buy diamonds from these artisanal guys. They're living on $1 or $2 a day. Are they part of our industry? Do they deserve protection, or is it only us who are selling to consumers? Who are we protecting with these trade organizations, their rules and their ethics and all their stuff? And so we need to be thinking about ethics from a personal space rather than just, I don't have to worry about ethical considerations. I gave it to the RJC, I gave it to Jews of America, I gave it to, I don't know, some other organization. We ourselves have to be socially responsible and ethical, and we ourselves as individuals have to understand what's going on. So I go crazy and I write this thing, what should we do about blood diamonds? And people are angry at me. Why are you bringing up blood diamonds? Why are you talking about that? Don't tell anybody, like, don't raise the issue. But I just can't stomach it anymore. I mean, I was in Sierra Leone during the war. I saw amputee camps. I saw amputees, tens of thousands. It's just like not good. And so I asked the question, can we as an industry stop buying these blood diamonds? Is it possible? What do we have to do? And you say to me, well, talk about business, Rapaport, talk about prices, talk about how I can get rich, don't bother me with this. And I'm telling you that this is the essence of our business, because if we don't stop buying blood diamonds, we can't keep selling our product as this wonderful product that makes the world a better place. So we have to stop doing evil. I know that there's a lot of good that people are doing, and they should continue doing good, and I'm not against organizations. But let me define this. Blood diamonds are diamonds involved in physical torture. In this thing over here, we went into the field in Merengue, and we took pictures of people with holes in them. And again, most of the industry says, nah, we don't have to worry about that. Here's holes, pictures, bullet wounds. People say, not our problem, we're going to do it differently. Well, but I'm telling you that these people are members of our industry just like a typical jeweler, and I'll go into that later. Now, my problem is that the fundamental problem is that our trade and trade organizations actively support the legitimacy of blood diamonds. It's not like we don't stop them because, oh, we only deal with conflict diamonds, we don't deal with human rights abuses. That's bad, but not as bad as saying, here, you shot somebody, that diamond is now good, it's kosher. I'm going to put it right into the distribution system. So the Kimberley process is in fact certifying blood diamonds. How can that be? How can we do that? And I talk about it, I fasted for 3 days when the Kimberley process accepted Zimbabwe. Now Zimbabwe was going to be the head of the Kimberley. I don't know what I fasted. Maybe I need to beg and say, please don't buy blood diamonds. I know it's difficult. I know you have to ask questions. I know you got to change your headspace, but you gotta stop. And we can't support organizations that certify blood diamonds as being legitimate. Because you know what happens? This guy, he pays people to shoot people or to move people out of where there are diamonds. He tortures people. Then he gets a Kimberley process certificate, takes the diamonds to another market, any other market, and sells them, gets the money for them. They're legitimate because they have the Kimberley process document. We are legitimizing blood diamonds every day with this Kimberley process. And everybody supports the Kimberley process because it's this fig leaf that covers up and let's just say these are non-conflict diamonds, which is also nonsense. It doesn't really mean there's no human rights abuses. So we're lying through our teeth. We're lying through our organizations using the phrase non-conflict. And we are certifying blood diamonds. And so I'm taking a position which is very unpopular. Oh my God, everyone would be so angry. I'm going too far, I'm going too far. I am saying no more Kimberley process for our trade. And it's the primary force doing evil out there. And we're supporting it. We're believing in it. We're saying it's okay. They even certify Russian diamonds now. Although Russian diamonds aren't blood diamonds, and they're not even, we have to get the terminology down, they're not even conflict diamonds. But we're not doing as an industry. And you know, the real question is, how much power do we have? People in this room. You see, you got the money. And money is power. You can change the world by what you buy and how you buy. That's the ultimate. The governments can make laws, trade organizations should and could do more, but ultimately it's your ability to part with that money. You vote for what's right with your money. Consumers will get the level of social responsibility they're willing to pay for. No more, no less. So if consumers are willing to pay more for socially responsible diamonds or source certified diamonds, then that's what we should be doing. It's a no-brainer. We should be selling that. When people say, oh, I don't want the competition, forget about that. I mean, look at what happened with XXX diamonds. For many years, there was no cut grade for a diamond. Came the AGS and started to have a cut grade. Came the JIA and started to have a cut grade. In the beginning, VG. Then triple VG. Very good. Now, 80% of those certified goods on Rapaport or Rapnet or something, which is millions of diamonds, right, have XXX, triple X goods. The quality of cut went up. Now, why did that happen? Not because people were, I don't know, altruistically, oh, I want to have a beautiful diamond, because they made more money from them. We have to engineer a world where we can make more money because something has a social responsibility certificate or it is something that is sourced responsibly. It is so important to do this. We'll save our industry, we'll save our reputation, we'll save our own stores, and we'll also create a better world for everybody who is in the diamond distribution thing. So my problem here was with this, there's a petition on your table. You don't have to sign it now. I am pushing this, I am promoting this, and I am saying, enough with the certification of blood diamonds. Stop it. So there's a petition that I put on your table. We're going to be marketing this and promoting this. And it basically says that you are asking the World Diamond Council to disassociate from the Kimberley process. And the reason is because the Kimberley process is certifying blood diamonds, Russian diamonds. So if you want to stop this, you got to stop this within our own trade to support these blood diamonds. I really believe it's something that has to be done. And it says that if they don't do it by a reasonable period of time, I think it was July 15th or something, then you said, I want to be a member of your organization. Because right now, these people are representing me. They're going out there saying, we represent the entire diamond trade. Which they don't represent me, but they say that. And unless we come up with a force against it and say, stop, certify, blood diamonds, they'll just continue to do this. And there's a big conference today from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock where we're going to discuss this. But I would say to you that you can make a difference. You can do something. I'm going to go through this whole thing. But what you can do is you can ask your organization, whatever the organization is, JA, AGS, I don't know, whatever, Plum Club, I don't care. Ask them. Does your organization allow members to buy or sell Russian-sourced diamonds that are mined in Russia but manufactured outside of Russia? Now, by the way, you don't have to say, yes, our organization said it's absolutely fine for people to buy those diamonds because we apply legal standards to what we're doing as an organization, and that's okay. But you should know your organization says that's what we do. If there's any, does your organization allow members to buy or sell diamonds sourced from U.S. sanctioned entities, like merengue? How about that? That's a little higher level. So maybe organizations say, yes, look, we're a Belgian organization, an Israeli, an Indian, it's okay for us. Probably an American organization would have to say that you're not allowed to do that, but maybe they'd say they cut it outside of Russia, this is an excuse here or there. And what rules does your company have regarding the expulsion of members that trade in Russian-sourced diamonds or from U.S. sanctioned diamonds? In other words, what are you going to do about it? Big scandal with the RJC. You had the Russian problem, sanctions, and the RJC said, well, you know, we can't expel these people. We don't have the power. If you want to get into a situation where you can stop this kind of an activity, this kind of a social suicide, if you want to call it, of selling blood diamonds, you have to be able to expel people from your organizations. You know, you can't have the good and the bad. And in fact, the whole problem emanates from taking good diamonds and bad diamonds and mixing them. That's what people are doing. They buy diamonds from questionable sources, they mix them in with the good diamonds, and then they serve it to everybody. In America, they say, here, buy them. But the mixing is where the evilness takes part, because by putting the bad in with the good, the bad are hiding with the good, and then you buy these diamonds. So you want to make sure there's no mixing and you understand what's going on, because this mixing business is a real hassle. Anyways, I was going through this thing. I do encourage you to look at those petitions, take them, you can scan it, you can send it in, but we will be pushing this very importantly. I mean, I beg you, I don't know, I get down on my knees here, I beg you, don't buy blood diamonds. You have a responsibility here. You got to think about this. And you really have to make honest efforts as individuals not to buy them. And one of them is making sure our trade organizations don't legitimize them. All right. Now, what I was talking about over here is how to do things. And I don't know that it's already 9:30. I've been going on here for an hour and a half. So I don't know how much we want to kill ourselves here, but I do want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story. I mean, there's things that I can give you. I can give you guidelines. I will. A good first step, suppliers got to tell you what they know about diamonds. We can use to the best of our knowledge. It's better than nothing when the person says that to you. But get your supplier to make a commitment in writing, even if he doesn't know. So I don't know. Make an agreement that you don't want these diamonds. And I think Jay was working with the United States Jewelry Council, USJC. No, or they worked with something I think Jay worked on. They had some document. We're going to work on documents also that you can give to a supplier, that a supplier can sign. And we are putting stuff in Rapnet. So there's a lot of effort going into finding ways for an individual jeweler to do something that would protect their integrity and to control the ethical basis of whatever they're selling. I think we're reviewing the boilerplate of the WDC. I don't like what I'm reading. It's very general, and they throw the kitchen sink in there, and it's all guidelines. But we really need to get deeper into this. But now I want to tell you a story, so maybe I'm talking over your heads. Maybe you don't understand what I'm really saying. Because, you know, these guys are in Africa, so let's take it a little deeper. What would happen if there were a bunch of guys who were working in the Los Angeles jewelry industry market, and they went into jewelers' stores, they shoved a gun in the guy's mouth, they said, give me your jewelry, and they walked out with the jewelry, or they left the dead jeweler there. Would you buy that jewelry? Who in this room would buy that jewelry? Come on, stolen jewelry, good price, well priced, you can make a lot of money. Would you buy that jewelry? Diamonds, nice stuff, really. What if someone made it legal? The California DA decided that because of disadvantaged segments of the population, and since jewelry isn't a necessity like water or food or oil or gasoline, it's okay. You can trade it. It's tradable, legal. Would you buy the stolen jewelry? It's legal. Why not? Let's say you lived in Mexico and, you know, there was no law in Mexico against buying jewelry from unknown sources. Right? Legal. I guess, you know, maybe you'd buy it, maybe you wouldn't, maybe some of you would. We're looking after our industry, you know, we got to make sure that that can happen. Now, what if you know your legal buying of those stolen goods from California, there were more robberies? Because now it's legal, you can trade this stuff, so then more people would go into more jewelry stores and they would steal more jewelry. They might even steal from you if you're buying and stuff. I don't know, maybe if you're not, it doesn't matter. Would you buy that? Are there any lines you wouldn't cross? Really? Because when it comes to Africans, we got no lines. Got pictures on your table, pictures in the thing. What do we do about blood diamonds? You got pictures of people with holes in them. Dogs, torture, all kinds of crap, and we just buy them. So is the life of an African worth less than the life of an American? I'll just put it to you straight in your face. I guess the answer is yes. Because I don't for an instant believe us and our highfalutin trade organizations would stand for this. They would put a stop to it. And they wouldn't allow people to buy those goods and trade them. So we have this global commodity product called diamonds, no utility, based on how people feel about the product, and we don't discriminate between stolen or human rights abuse products. So that has to stop, everybody. All right. So what am I going to do? How are we going to stop this? First of all, we're going to actually go out there and monitor the goods. And I don't trust trade organizations. I don't trust the Kimberley process. I effectively don't trust anyone. And I'm not going to trust companies as much as I'm going to look at the specific product. And I'll use the same rules that Jews have been using for kosher for 3,000 years. And we'll follow each product to know this is a kosher product or not. This came from a legitimate mine or not. And maybe it was coming from a legitimate mine, we don't know. We're so infatuated, we'll say we don't know. Maybe you're buying from a supplier and you'll ask your supplier and you'll say, where does this come from? And he says, I don't know. And you'll say, okay, just understand from now on, please ask your supplier and find out more. But don't stop doing business. I'm not here to make you guys crazy. I am here to tell you that the diamond industry, society is on the slippery slope of legitimacy. We need to be legitimate. We need to stop selling blood diamonds. And I don't care how we do it to some degree. And, oh, but what about the cutters in India? They're not going to have work. That's right, because I have a red line here, and my red line says we will not torture people. We will not trade in products that do that. Now, whether you want to deal in Russian diamonds who got cut out of Russia, that's you could decide what level of ethics you want to apply. But I was pretty happy to see some 60% of people say, at least in a survey, no, I don't want those diamonds, which means that we have to create a market for socially acceptable diamonds using source certifications. We have to create a new market. So I'm going to get onto Rapnet, I'm going to put green stars, maybe other companies will do things. All I'm saying to you is that we as an industry need to protect the integrity of our product at all costs now. Really important to do. And I can yell and scream and bang on the table, which I'd love to do, but I don't think it'll be that effective. And by killing our trade organizations, it's not going to stop it either. But we need to direct them. And we can't let the current situation to continue. Okay, the world around us is changing, and we're like a stick in the mud over here, and we are doing some bad stuff. And then take it to the Russian story. If you can't understand what's going on in Africa, and well, that's obvious that they're torturing people, but think about the Russian situation. Do you want to have a higher level jewelry store that can make the claim that we are careful about where we're sourcing? Okay. I'm surprisingly calm today. I don't know why, but maybe I'm getting through to people, maybe I'm not. I'm hoping that I am. Okay, now, I'm going to do some conclusions, and I'm going to sit at the edge of this table over here, and I'm going to answer any kind of questions that you guys have. We have a mic here as well, but I'm going to move to the conclusion, okay? We're going through a challenging time. Demand looks like it's going to get whacked, but it's short term. So demand will go up, go down, more money, less money, inflation, interest rates come back. That's just economic hoo-ha. If we fail to maintain the goodness of diamonds by applying proper ethical standards and behavior, a new generation of consumers will come to reject diamonds. I'm telling you here, guys. You don't do this, and consumers are going to walk away from your product. You've got great pictures of the back of people's heads, even if they walk into your jewelry stores. You must have ethical products. Is there anything more than supply, demand, and prices? You know, what is the utility of diamond, gems, and jewelry? Really, really take a bit of effort to understand why are people buying those diamonds and jewelry? What's that emotional power? Because that emotional power is even more powerful than anything rational. Are we failing to support the emotional value of diamonds to consumers? How proud of we are of our product? Is it just price? Oh, I got this, a little cheaper. Got to get away from selling the product to selling the idea behind the product. Russian sanctions will force us to market and monetize ethical diamonds as we add value through supply chain certification. The Russian diamond thing is great because it forces us to take a position. Yes, I'm just legal. No, I'm going further. There's a good aspect here because now, you know, how much of many of you guys really understand what someone is doing in India and the problems they're having in India sourcing rough to give you those matched diamonds for that necklace or bracelet? Do we really understand the people in India or other countries that are cutting the product? And do they understand us and our customers? Our industry is somehow siloed and segmented and separated. But this idea of source certification, this idea of knowing where your diamonds come from and who they come from, will bring our industry closer together. So we will have a supply chain that is better understood by all the participants in that supply chain. And that will be a great positive thing. We'll understand each other more. And it's going to encourage better understanding. What should people do now? You know, and Pat was saying, tell people what to do. Well, first of all, you have to recognize what's going on and don't make believe everything is exactly the same, because it isn't. If people start feeling that there's a tightness in what they can buy, you need to understand what's going on with their money and how much money they have, and maybe focus some attention onto people, older people, people that have money. I would point out to you also that, you know, I said a diamond's not forever, but baby boomers aren't forever. Diamond is forever, baby boomers aren't forever. The amazing sense of humor that God has, because all of these, and I should talk down to millennials, all these wonderful millennials who are so open-minded and loving of everyone and everything, they're going to inherit trillions of dollars from the baby boomers. It's outrageous. You go out like 5-10 years, okay? There's going to be so much money coming to these millennials. It's going to be unbelievable. So my outlook for the diamond industry isn't negative, negative, negative. Watch out what's happening now. But there are certain forces of nature and trends that are going to come in. Take the high road ethically, but there's going to be a lot of business opportunity. And then limit your debt. I don't know if you guys have debt. I can say I don't have any debt, but interest rates go up. It can decimate you. It can kill you. Go liquid, watch your inventory, Don't over-inventory based on the tremendous exuberance of last year, because that had that $10 trillion cash flow that I don't think we're going to see again. Watch your supply chain, learn more about it, become a reliable, ethical supplier. There's going to be a new wave of demand. There's going to be ethical competition. So people walk into your store and say, where's your diamond come from? You'll say, well, I have no idea and I don't care, and he'll walk away or she'll walk away. But tell the truth. I don't know now, but I have other diamonds and we are doing things, etc. And yes, recognize that we're all reliant on each other and that we have to be sensitive. And even me, I have to be sensitive to trade organizations, even though I'm telling them we should all leave the World Diamond Council. Not even a question, okay? But I'm still sensitive to all the good work that all these leaders are doing to make things, positive things happen. So we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can't say just because trade organizations cannot solve the problem of human rights violations, torturing people, they can't solve that. It's okay, they can't solve it. But it doesn't mean that other things that they're doing are not good. So we have to support good things, but we have to recognize that we cannot rely on others to keep us ethical. We have to make sure that we personally make that effort to know where our goods are coming from. And it could be diamonds, it could be gems, it could be gold. It's just putting on that hat of responsibility for what we pay money for and what we buy. Because our money causes change, causes actions, causes people to make more blood diamonds, or maybe none. So don't underestimate the power that you have as buyers to change the world. Because ultimately, it's with you, not with the trade organizations, not with the governments, not with the NGOs. The real game here is for people in our industry to take responsibility for how they spend their money. And not just to worry about what the customer wants right now, but to worry about our own souls and what we can do to make that diamond a better product. And I'm telling you, there's no question in my mind, we can add value to diamonds, to jewelry, to gold. We can make a difference by being socially responsible and by sourcing our products properly, by looking at that ethical aspect, because we will then make a better product. And then the emotional power of the product. Okay, imagine a guy gives a girl gives a girl, or a guy gives a guy, I don't know. Here's this diamond, and it really came, it helped people. And there are organizations, when you look at this issue of this thing, I don't know, we started to work with REACT, we started to work with other organizations. You know, it's not just me, and it's not just Rapaport. A lot of different organizations are getting out there. And 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock we'll have a thing, and maybe you guys can see it. And you can come, or you can watch the video later of it, or whatever. But there's a lot of good people in our industry doing wonderful things. The De Beers program, or Gem Fair, or ARM, Association of Responsible Mining, or some of the other people we list in our magazine, or in this Blood Diamond report, we list good companies too. So it's an individual thing. No one is going to do what you need to do for yourself to make sure that you're an ethical supplier of jewelry, okay? And when you do that, you'll feel better. If your kids say, what did you do? You'll be able to answer your children in a very positive way. But I think most importantly, your customers will come to segment you, appreciate you, and brand you as someone who's responsible. So I'm appealing, I'm begging them, please, let us pay attention to the future of proper ethical goods, the future of adding value to our customers, the future of not being as product-centric as we are, instead of being people-centric, customer-centric, okay? And let us create a world where the different elements of our supply chain all come together so that the mining guys, they understand the needs of the jeweler to sell a legitimate product. And the jeweler understands the concerns that the mining companies have. So by working together, I'm confident that we can solve this problem. We can actually make the world a better place. I'm going to sit here and answer questions, and thank you all. There you go. All righty. Let's go. All right, questions. If nobody has any questions, I'm just going to chill out. But they got some mics here that they brought around. I'm walking around here. Hopefully it's not screaming. You can come up, or I'll come and hang out with you.
Sherry said they should come up here.
Sherry said they should come up here. Now, Sherry's big boss. No one wants to mess with Sherry. Here you go. Here's Charlie, my good friend Charlie.
Friend Martin.
All right.
First of all, I would like to say that I agree 100% with your position on blood diamonds, and it's a real problem. But I would like to ask you a question. Is it by accident, or you forgot completely to mention the word lab-grown diamond?
No, as a matter of fact, okay. All right, you got me. You know, the thing with lab-grown diamonds is interesting. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right, here's the game. I believe that brands will go for lower quality, no, higher quality lab-grown diamonds because there's a lot of melee in their product. The only real problem that I have with lab-grown diamonds is that their prices are coming down. And a lot of people, and I actually wrote something to the RJC about this, and we'll publish it. If anyone wants to see it, go to socialresponsibility.rapaport.com. But when you sell a diamond, and you don't you say it's exactly the same, but you don't say to him, by the way, it doesn't hold value. It doesn't hold value. So the guy's going to come back in 5 years. You sold me an engagement ring for $5,000. What's it worth now? And it's not going to be worth anywhere near what he paid for it. No way, no how. Why are people making so much money with the bridal stuff? Why are they making so much money? Because they're riding on the idea of a diamond being a store of value without telling the consumer, oh, this thing's not going to hold value. They forget to mention it. So that's going to boomerang back on the diamond industry in about 4 or 5 years, and people are going to come along and say, hey, you ripped me off. You sold me something, and the value of that thing is not there, and I thought it was going to be like a diamond, but it isn't, and so you misled me. That's a problem for me, and that's why I won't put synthetic diamonds or lab-grown diamonds or man-made diamonds in RavNet, because they're essentially a tool to screw the consumer by not telling them the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It's half-truth. Now, in the case of melee, and if you are a large manufacturer today, I don't know, it's an LVMH guy or some other guy, and look at the magazines, you know, it's great. They're going after this high-level demand of beautiful, beautiful big pieces, lots and lots of melee. I think they're probably going to have to use synthetic diamonds because they're not going to be able, the Russian goods are about 50–60% of the market for those fine quality melee. But I don't think the fact that they use synthetic diamonds instead of natural diamonds in the accents of the piece are going to significantly reduce the value of the piece. I don't know. I don't think so. So my concern is the one of value deterioration. Will value deteriorate when you're dealing with a diamond that's synthetic, that's small on the side of a branded piece of jewelry, and the labor cost of the melee is very high as a percentage of the value? Probably it's not going to materially affect the value of the diamond or the piece of jewelry, okay? Jar, one of the best designers in the world, he uses all kinds of gemstones that are not necessarily valuable or that crazy, but the piece, the way he puts it together. So I don't think melee, synthetic melee as part of a branded piece of jewelry is going to be very detrimental to the resale value of the piece of jewelry. I do think that an engagement ring market for synthetic diamonds is a unfortunate short-term play for retailers to make a bunch of money fast and screw their reputation. When the people come back in 5 years, I don't know. I'll worry about it in 5 years. So the integrity of the diamond industry is going to come into question as all of these consumers have bought all these diamonds. But nothing new. I mean, you know, everybody can go for a short-term solution. If it's 97.5 off, you know, that doesn't bother me. I'm sure cubic zirconia is maybe 99% off. The thing that does bother me is when the consumer buys it, what happens? Do they really know? And if there is honest, truthful disclosure, okay, it sells cubic zirconia. I mean, Swarovski does a wonderful job with glass. I don't know that they, you know, that they have to sell natural diamonds or anyone has to. So I'm just looking for honesty. I hope that answers you, Charlie. Okay? That's my thought about it. Big stones not good, small stones you don't have a choice. They'll probably not affect the value. It's the value upon resale that has me so worried. Okay? Somebody else, more questions? Go ahead. Fire away. And by the way, we're going to collect any of those forms. Just give them to me. We're going to get a little basket or something so we can collect those forms.
Daniel is my name. I would like to know about ethicals. Do you think lab-grown is more ethical or less ethical than the ethical naturals? I would like to know if you think it's ethical to mix both. And say the ethical natural and the ethical lab-grown and mix and sell them mixed. What do you think about this mixing that are made?
I think that synthetic diamonds are a different product. They're certainly more ethical than merengue diamonds, where they torture people. They may be more ethical than Russian diamonds, which come out of a war zone, okay? If in fact they're the Russian diamonds after sanctions and all that. I think that the aggressive lab-grown industry, they make their money screwing the natural diamonds. So they'll say and do anything. Essentially, they're short-term prostitutes, in my view. And they'll just do whatever they can do to make more money. And so they'll say these diamonds are more ethical. They might be, or they may not be. I think if you want to look at the artisanal diggers in Africa, and you want to take an ethical position that all these people should starve to death because you want to make some rich bitch in Rodeo Drive, California feel good, you could call that being more ethical, I guess, okay? But the bottom line is that we have to balance things out. But I am opposed to the larger stones. I do think that maybe artisanal diggers need to be working more on agriculture and getting them out of this terrible casino concept of what's going on in there. So I don't want to make say, oh, all things are evil, but full disclosure is the fundamental requirement of anything that you're selling. And are these diamonds more ethical? I don't know, they cut them in factories that use a lot of electricity. Then again, they buy carbon, things against them. I don't know, you've got 100,000 going to 1 million diamond machines in China that are putting out those diamonds. So I would be hesitant to accept a blind argument that says our diamonds are more ethical, okay? And I think that they're on the wrong horse when they talk about ethics. But the biggest concern that I have is one of full disclosure as to the ability of the product to retain value like regular diamonds. And that's the thing that bothers me. And is it ethical to do that, to sell a diamond and not tell the guy, oh, natural diamonds will retain value and these won't? I don't know, that's the ethical part that I'm dealing with more than, but I am concerned. And I do think that if the diamond industry, the natural diamond industry, does not get its act together and continues to buy blood diamonds with these bullshit Kimberly process certificates, I may start supporting synthetic diamonds. Because in the end, I can't stomach torture. Can't stomach it. No justification. So, more. This is your shot. Come on, come on over here, We haven't heard a lot from any of the women. You want to make sure we get the microphone to people here? Yeah. Go ahead, and come on, there's a woman coming from there and this one.
Hi, I'm Pam Swartz, and I understand what you're saying, but you're asking a retailer to basically just ask my supplier where the diamond came from? I mean, I go on RapNet, I see XXX, I don't see anything about whether or not a diamond is, blood diamond or ethically sourced. I mean, can you put that in your information?
Yeah. Here's what we're doing. First of all, we're working on the good stuff to say, here's a green star on a diamond on RapNet, so you can actually see it. We're working on it. But to say that a diamond is kosher is a very tough job, which we are working on right now. And then most of the diamonds, you don't know where they're from. So just imagine that you were buying goods from LA and you have a guy who walks into your store and says, I got all these goods. And now you say, who are you? Where did you get the goods from? I think that we now need to raise the game so that the supplier knows that the buyer is going to jump away as soon as you have a diamond that has a known source. They have to be informed and they have to be asked. And not just some nonsense, I signed something, there's a form here, I just tickled and wiggled on the form. It's not going to do it. You really need to talk to your supplier and make sure he understands how important this is for you. And then as soon as we can find suppliers who are willing to give more information about the diamonds, we'll probably green star them without issuing a certificate. So in other words, this will have 3 steps. Step number 1 is that a supplier makes an affirmative statement. Step number 2 is that we get people to make affirmative statements that we can audit. And step number 3 is we can publish their names and throw them the hell off of it, okay, if they make a statement that's not true. It's still going to leave us with a lot of diamonds from unknown sources for the next year or 2. But the movement towards legitimization is there, and we will do everything we can. We'll try to come up with a standard form that you can send your suppliers. But you need to talk to them. Everybody's signing bullshit they sign. I looked at the World Diamond Council guarantee. It's horrible. I guarantee you everything. You could take away my children. It's total bullshit. So, we have to be real. Just imagine that in your city they were shooting jewelers. And you wanted to know, really. Because we're a people business, and jewelers are people, and suppliers are people, and you just need to really impress that upon them, that it's not a legal issue. It's an ethical issue, okay? And they have to and if the guy says, listen, I don't know, I'm a guy, I just manufacture diamonds, I don't have any ethics, fine. But maybe you want to find another supplier. And it's not going to happen in 2 seconds. But if it's important to you, and it's important to your customers, it'll happen. And I know I'm not giving you a perfect answer, but we're in a miserable situation with these blood diamonds, and that's why I bring it up. Yes, you were going to come, please. Well, yeah, so give her a mic or something. You know what? Come right next to me. You can talk into my mic. All right, we're going to stand here together.
I like that. I'm from Michigan, and I wanted to ask the questions. In the past year, diamonds have gone up significantly. Are they going to continue to rise? And where is this going to bottom out at? Because this is, I believe, a lot of the customers are coming to the lab created, which I always tell my customers they have no value. But if they buy the stone, they can always buy it in a pendant with diamond prices if they ever go down to get a natural stone. So that's my question.
Well, I think you want to sell what you can to your customer. As long as you're honest, you can sell anything. You can sell Swarovski crystals in your store.
But they can't afford them.
I understand. Hopefully they can.
The middle to upper income areas where I'm at, when they look at the prices of the I just sold a 7-carat emerald cut diamond.
She just sold the 7-carat emerald cut diamond.
It was $255,000.
Right.
And the lady had a lot of money, so she was referred to me, and it was not a problem. How to get a lot of high-end young people, they want to buy a house, but they don't want to spend all the money on a 2-carat stone, so then they want to go to the lab creative, and they keep going up and up and up and up and up.
So wait, you're saying natural diamonds. You asked 2 questions.
Are they going to level?
Yeah, I don't know if diamond prices will go up. I don't think so.
They've been going up.
I know, and that's why where things change. Stock market has been going up, and it's taken a real bath. So I wouldn't gamble on diamond prices necessarily going up. So I don't know, but I don't think they're going to go up a lot more. In terms of the second point that you brought, which is really good, which is my customers come in millennials, and they say, for now, I don't want to buy a natural diamond. It's too expensive. I want to buy a synthetic. Oh, that's fine, as long as you're telling them and they understand that the value scenario is different. These diamonds don't hold value. And if that's the case and they like it and it looks great, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, well, maybe they do hold value, but they generally, new ones don't hold value. So, yeah, I just think be honest. The bottom line is just be honest. Don't speculate. That's I think the best advice I can give you guys. Go ahead. Yeah. Turn his mic on, somebody.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Rapaport. How are you? So my question here is, I'm a big fan of yours. You are a fantastic guy. You took a stand here, but you are a very influential person. Why don't you just ban up the people who doesn't provide you the origin, like straight away? And
Yeah, so, you know, we had an interesting question a few weeks ago. Should we list Russian diamonds that are manufactured outside of Russia? I call them Russian source diamonds, not Russian origin, because of the games the governments play with the word origin. And I said, we're going to take them off of RapNet. We're going to tell all of our suppliers we don't want those diamonds in RapNet. And please wrap, which means we're supposed to wrap. Oh my gosh, it's after 10 o'clock, so I'll start wrapping this up. So we didn't know what to do. We had a conversation, and a lot of the guys in the company said, you got to list them because it's 30% of the market. And I said, no. Our ethical position is going to take precedence over making money. We will have 30% less diamonds on RapNet if that's what it takes. And so that we're willing to do. We can't say to people who have diamonds from unknown sources and they bought them in good faith and they're honest, decent people, you can't sell them on RapNet. But what we can do and what we will do over time is to get higher prices for the products that have identification. So what we want to do is not force the global economy or force the world to go a certain way, but we want to give that opportunity for people to take advantage of that added value and say, okay, this is a kosher diamond. Okay, I'm going to pay a little more for it. Okay, when someone walks in the store, I'm going to sell the hell out of this thing because I believe in it and it's really a good product. You follow me? So I got it. He says, please wrap. That's what's on the thing over here. One more question, and then I'm going to, and I will be around. Oh boy, they're going to cut my mouth. Very small. I don't know how many actual blood diamonds. I know the CAR's got some stuff, and I know that Sierra Leone has stuff. It's also sanctioned. Not that many, but I don't know about half of 1%. I don't know that it's that less. It depends if you consider the Russian diamond something, okay? That's why the Russian thing. But I would say that it's relatively small, but it's intolerable. Where's your red line? Okay, let's just kill 10 guys or 100 guys. You know, I can't look at it that way. And I think that as an industry, by going after the blood diamonds, we're also going to go after the other stuff. So we'll know, we have to know where our product comes from, and we're responsible for the money that we push out there and what happens to that money, whether it's money laundering, terrorist funding, or blood diamonds. So I think that we are getting there, and I think we will get there. So listen, everybody, thank you all very much for coming out here. I really appreciate it.